What do you think was a major contributing factor to the rise of Darwinism and a godless worldview?
Inappropriate view of God.
He says an inappropriate view of God. This is out of Christian Education, page 73. Satan has ascribed to God all the evils to which flesh is heir. Notice what that means. It's old kind of English. How would you say that today? All the evils to which flesh is heir, you would say, he makes God out to look like sinful human beings. Okay? All the evils to which flesh is heir. He has represented him as a God who delights in the suffering of his creatures, who is revengeful and implacable. It was Satan who originated the doctrine of eternal torment as a punishment for sin, because in this way he could lead men into infidelity and rebellion, distract souls, and dethrone human reason. What has Satan done? As Wendell said, he's misrepresented God, but specifically, how has he misrepresented him? To be like sinful human beings, arbitrary, capricious, who can actually take pleasure in torturing his own creatures, and then torture his children in eternal torment, which dethrones human reason. How does it dethrone human reason? Because it's completely unreasonable. Even a sinful being, even a mean sinful being, wouldn't torture their own family for all eternity. We wouldn't do that. But we say God does, and God's love, and that's completely nonsense. It's unreasonable. And the only way to hold that view is to, well, I don't think about that. I take that on faith, which means I have just dethroned human reason. I've taken it out of operation. But it also leads to infidelity. What's infidelity? No longer believing. And so this distortion of God leads people to look for another explanation for why we're here, how things came to be, what's the origins of life. They're looking for other explanations because who could believe in an awful God like that? So here's a quote from Richard Dawkins, the famed atheist. The God of the Old Testament is arguably the most unpleasant character in all fiction. Jealous and proud of it, a petty, unjust, unforgiving control freak, a vindictive, bloodthirsty ethnic cleanser, a misogynist, homophobic, racist, infanticidal, genocidal, filicidal, pestilential, megalomaniacal, sadomasochistic, capricious, malevolent bully. Do you think he overstates the case in the Old Testament? Now, let me ask you this. We're talking from the lesson, a worldview that causes a sense of hopelessness and purposelessness. And we've already established that if we believe it's just a cosmic emptiness, there's no future beyond the 70 or 80 or 100 years we live here, that's it and nothing more, that leads to a sense of hopelessness and purposelessness. But which is a worse view to have? That there is no deity at all, or there's a deity like Dawkins describes? Which is worse? Seriously, which would be the worst universe to live in? The one like Dawkins describes. Do you get that? Do you understand? Much of religion teaches that very thing. What do you think this Islamic extremist God looks like? What do you think the God of the Dark Ages looks like? People who burn people at the stake and go on crusades with crosses and blamed. The KKK, what would they burn on the lawn of a black person? A cross, people. Get your mind around that. I mean, it's craziness. So, when some people reject a God like Richard Dawkins has described, are they moving away from God or toward him?
Toward him.
Yeah, I think they're clearly moving toward him. They may not know him yet, they may not accept him yet, but having rejected that lie, at least they've removed the lie out of their head. Remember what Christ said to the Pharisees, you search the world over to find a convert, when you do, you make him twice the son of hell? See, not knowing God, being disconnected from him, we were once the son of hell. But when we learn a completely distorted view of God, now not only do we have to still come to know the true God, we have to unlearn all this false stuff. We have 2 hurdles to get over now. So having rejected that, they've gotten rid of a hurdle. They have another hurdle still, they don't know God, but at least they don't have this corruption. And I will tell you something, it's a lot easier to talk to people who believe and know God than people who are set in this other belief. It really is.